So here we are, and we'll just go through our garden and just tell you a little bit of how we started and to where we are today. So this was really overgrown. There was trees there, like pretty tall right in that area there, and it was very overgrown. So what we began with two beds, this bed and this bed. So if you can see, it's after sinking right down over the last year and a half, because we began with horse manure, a layer of horse manure, then topsoil and compost. And over the time it's after sinking down, breaking down into the soil. So you keep feeding the soil. And Brum Brum, there's the Brum Brum. That's the car for a 2-year-old, nearly 2. So come the end of this season, we will strip all of this when they're all dying off, and we'll fill it back up with more horse manure, compost and topsoil, and we'll put wood chips over the top of it, because we watched the Back to Eden gardening documentary, and we began doing that then because it's so much work to get the garden to where you want it. You grow all your vegetables, and then, you know, as you can see, look, there's no problem. Like, you see the root came up pretty easy there because we've looked after the soil more. But like, if you're just tilling the ground, tilling it, and just taking all the nutrients, elements, trace minerals, or trace elements and minerals out of the soil, then you have to do a thing called rotation. You rotate your crops, you grow this one here, then you grow this one here, and this one here, and this one here. And you have to keep rotating them to keep the soil right. But with this one, you keep adding to it, you keep feeding it, just like nature. So you can see these trees here. These trees here are constantly shedding their leaves, dropping down into the garden in this area here along the edge. And if you dig up there, you see how rich and dark and black the soil is, full of everything that plants need to grow. This is what nature does. This is what God does. God keeps his garden, which is this world, perfectly in order. When you go into a forest, the forest soil is so thick, like with it's moist, it's soggy, it's damp, and it keeps its moisture to feed the trees all the time, because all the foliage falls down, feeds the ground. The worms come up, pull the leaves down into the ground, and they feed the soil and then feed the trees, and it's constant symbiotic relationship in nature. We as humans have just destroyed and decimated farmlands, made them into dust heaps, because we just keep taking because of greed. But in this method, we do it God's way. We keep feeding the ground, we keep the minerals and the trace elements in the ground, we keep feeding it and keeping it to where it keeps going down and down and down. So you're talking the ground, after years and years, you'll be getting deeper with richer material to grow in. So you're getting a better, more richer growth and produce and fruit, as you can see here. As you can see, look at the size of these strawberries that are grown. Now they're not far away from, but they're full. They're everywhere, you know, big, giant strawberries. Lovely, lush leaves, getting plenty of sunshine. Bursts, look at all them strawberries there, you know. And then you just grow in the lettuce in among them. Lettuce, you know. So the first year we done it, we didn't do this. What we done here was we put down cardboard. There's cardboard underneath all this mulch, bark mulch. Now look how dry it is, right? We're just going to scratch it away, and you can see already the moisture still there. You know, the moisture's there in it. And it's the same in the beds, you know. It keeps the moisture. so the plants are constantly have water to drink, and it stops all the weeds coming up. And this is something that is so time consuming, trying to stay on top of the weeds. And we've just realized that this is a fantastic way of growing, you know. And when you pull your weeds, just pull the weeds, get the root, and just throw it in the garden. You can just throw it there. It'll break down and it'll work as a covering, because that's what we're basically doing. We want a covering over the soil, so we're protecting the soil. If you even look at a grass lawn, the grass is covering the soil. Each blade of grass has a time period where it dies, it goes back down, breaks down into and just constantly, without anyone feeding the grass, it's always green, gets water, gets sunlight, and it gets fed by dying, replenishing itself, growing again, new life. Kind of like humans when you think about it. We were born, we grow, we die, we go back, you know, and we procreate. When we're here, we have children. So just like that, shake off the dirt or break it off with your hands. You know, make sure to get the roots, break it up a bit, and just feed the garden again. And you stay on top of it. And then come fall, we will fill these beds back up again. We'll fill the beds back up again up here, and we'll cover them. The beds that we're not using. Now we'll keep the kale, we'll keep cabbage, and we'll keep broccoli growing through the winter. So that was the newest beds, or that's the oldest beds, and the newest beds then, this one over here, and all these ones. And what we've done here is we've done the horse manure, topsoil. We were hoping to get compost, but we haven't got it yet. But we got the bark mulch on top, which the sun hits, doesn't destroy the soil, and keep drying it. Every time you water it, keeps drying it and compacting. And as it compacts, it doesn't give opportunity for the roots of the plants to go out to get more moisture. But it's like this though, when you dig down, like you see underneath, it's very moist. So that's what the wood chips do. The wood chips retain the water, and even if too much water falls, the wood chips have a way of not allowing the plants to be over soggy either. It's kind of like a perfect balance. So it's win-win in gardening. So this was the area where we chopped down our trees, and there's a few stumps here, and instead of trying to dig around it, get it down to the right level, put probably another bed there, grow some more vegetables, we decided that we got our topsoil, cardboard down, topsoil over it, then we got our bark mulch over that. And we went off yesterday and we bought lots of heather and all this. I don't know what this is, but it's very pretty, kind of like a lotus. And this one just grows, has a lovely white flower on it, just spreads out around it, all around the rockery. These ones are they came from what you call them, Kate?
Spider plant.
Spider plant, but it sends off runners. Solomon took the runners and he planted them there yesterday. So we have another bed here, some more stuff to be grown. So I hope you get an idea of, like, look at the way it looks. You're not looking, like you might look, this is where, around the new beds, we've cardboard and mulch underneath them all. Like we done the whole mulching and cardboard first. These ones we didn't do that the first year, so we could only get the cardboard up to the side of it. So constantly going around and taking out a few weeds here and there. But it sure beats having to do the whole garden, you know. So just go along, Oh, look at that. Lovely. Mr. Worm. Put him in there. So we go around and we just take them all out, you know. I hope this helps anyone. Like, we're all just trying to do it. Do the best we can and how we learn, because people that went before us have tried many things. That's how we learn things, you know. We listen and we try things and we see what works for us, and what one thing worked for one person may not work for another. All depending on soil and conditions and weather and climate. So we're in Ireland, so we do have a pretty decent growing period, you know, except for this year. This year was a very harsh enough spring, and we couldn't put the plants out early because there was still some frosty nights going all the way through April, and it really wreaked havoc on our raspberry bushes that we planted. Hear that bird singing now? Everything brings glory to God in creation. May humanity start doing it, because everyone needs to repent. I repented and God changed my life completely. I had a born again experience. I got baptized, and this is where He's leading me. He's leading me back to the garden. Tend the garden. You know, you see the two runner beans going up the old fencing there. You see the runners going up along there. Very pretty, isn't it? I think that's lovely now. It's very, very sticky. So wherever it touches off, it just sticks to. We got our broccoli. Some broccoli heads coming out here. So you do the split planting, and you try and get it where you get a harvest, and then weeks later you get another harvest. And we'll be hoping to get to a stage where this will stay as a garden, but we'll move on to other parts of the garden where we'll have a produce where we can actually start selling, start bringing in some income to put into the likes of topsoil and horse manure. Well, we can get horse manure for free. Next door, our neighbour has 50 horses, so you can bring down horse manure. Praise God. The likes of compost, bark mulch, timber for raised beds, you know. And if you can get to a place where, you know, you're getting your produce to help pay for these, it sure helps, you know. So I don't know if I've missed anything in it. You can see for yourself the garden looks very healthy, and you see what the garden would look like where there is no cardboard and bark mulch stopping them growing up, you know. So I hope this helps you in your decision making of how to do your garden, because for the first few years I done it. And I had to keep tilling the garden, and every year you go out to till the garden, and it's just a lot of work. And there's nothing wrong with a lot of work, but if there's an easier way of doing something, then do it that way. And then you can put more effort into your preparation work, as in preparing your soil, feeding it, and seeing the produce producing high yield, where your family's being fed organic vegetables instead of what you get in the supermarket, which we have no idea where it came from, what was sprayed on. Is that right, Bo? We're getting so many vines this year. So many vines. Pull in the cabbage. This is our baby boy Boaz, 2 next month. Carrots. Carrots are in there. He wanted to let you know. That's where the carrots are. Is that right, Bo? So that's our raised beds, and we'll keep adding to them, keep adding to them over the years. where the soil will just become dark, rich, black, full of everything that your plants need. You know, you can already see it starting, you know, starting to break down into the nice and rich. Shalom and blessings.